Morning. So they tell you that there's more crime, so they need more police, more prisons, stricter penalties when there's more crime. And when there's less crime, they tell you that the criminal justice system is working. So keep contributing to the power mongers. It's a circular argument. It's like a coin. Heads they win, tails you lose. We're going to talk about the system today. As you look at the beautiful American flag in the background, we're going to talk about the crooked system today and talk about the pig squealing. Now, we're not talking about the pig squealing as in telling on each other, but they tell on us by math and science. They tell on each other by that. They tell us. We're talking about the pig squealing, the people in public power, the courts, the elected officials, and the police, who are commonly called pigs, and sometimes they are. So we're just going to put it to you blatantly, truthfully, like you won't hear anywhere else from someone that has a YouTube channel running for public office and has a federal civil rights suit filed. You won't hear this kind of talk anywhere else. Just blatant truth based on science. It's not conspiracy theory. It's based on science. How the system is rigged against you every day, all day long. And it's not broken, it's designed to work that way. They literally benefit from crime. And they keep a little bit of crime, or sometimes a lot, to maintain their power. Because they own the jails, they own the police, they own the systems that profit from these corporations and the police. And so why would they want crime to be eliminated? And while it couldn't be completely eliminated, I get that, it doesn't have to be at the levels that it is now. The people in government power, according to a lot of highly respected social scientists and me, believe that it is allowed because that's what they want. They want a lot of crime and trouble. So can you all hear me? Just realized I got to turn my mic on and get lined up here. So they want a lot of crime to benefit them. Crime is beneficial to the people in power. Hugely beneficial. Hugely beneficial. So we're going to discuss that this morning and talk to you about how they enforce the law on the poor, the less affluent, not even necessarily poor, less affluent. You pay full price in their criminal justice system. It's their criminal justice system. You pay full price. And these pigs, squealing pigs, what I call them, because we're punching them where it hurts, and several reasons we'll get into. The pigs are squealing, gluttonous pigs in power right now. And they've set up a system much like a conveyor belt that takes the rich, designed to take the rich, the well-off, affluent people off the conveyor belt. The conveyor belt goes to jail. The conveyor belt goes to poverty. The conveyor belt benefits them, and they have stages all along the belt that takes off the rich at all stages of the belt, designed to take care of them before they ever get to the full force of their criminal justice system that's set up to benefit them and punish the hell out of you when you didn't even do a damn thing. And there's no off-ramp for the mass populace of Tennesseans. There's no off-ramp in their system for you. You pay full price, even if you're innocent, and I got facts to back it up. And it's science, scientific knowledge, social science. Now, social science is not like engineering exactly, but it is similar, where the compounds in metal can be exactly studied, and you know what weight bearing some metal will hold, because they can test it and pretty much tell you with a huge degree of certainty what that metal will withstand. So engineering's a pretty precise science, but not 100%. They don't know absolutely. Even in engineering, there is some leeway. That's why they give you scales that don't put any more than this. It'll probably withhold a little more of this metal, but it won't hold more. That's why they had that submarine back a couple of summers ago that imploded in the ocean using a titanium instead of what it should have been using, because the scientist that was running that didn't listen to the science, because that type of material would not hold up under the extreme pressure underwater, and it imploded eventually, kept wearing down. So engineers tried to tell him, and there was a dispute about how much it could hold. He thought it could hold more. He based his life on it, but he was wrong. Scientifically, engineers could have told you and told him that, hey, this is not going to last because it is not strong enough under continued use to go to the bottom of the ocean floor. And it imploded, killed several people, killed a millionaire and his son, and killed the man that believed that he was doing right. So engineering is a fairly precise science as far as them knowing what weight it can hold, and in other areas they know, but they still don't know 100% for sure. You don't know until you put the weight on it. But sociology is a science too, and it's a little spongier. It's not as precise as engineering, but it is still a science that you can get a reasonable degree of certainty when you examine facts and numbers and how people react and how they do things. And you can scientifically measure human behavior. You can scientifically measure society, what's going on in society, mathematically within a certain degree of certainty. Not absolute, even engineering's not absolute. And it's a less precise science than engineering. Nonetheless, societal relationships, including the punishment of criminals, is measurable to a certain degree. We can find out who's going to prison, who's not, and for what reasons, based on the study of sociology. That is forces from the outside in on the individual, as opposed to psychology from the inside out, how people think. This is about how people impose their will on members of society, individual members, how they put people in jail or they don't put people in jail, based on what? And science measures that, and that's what we're talking about today. A measurable phenomenon that can tell you why people go to jail and why they don't. And I can tell you right now, it's not all because of crime. A lot of it is not. You might end up there. Listen to this show. I'll explain to you how. It makes complete sense. It's not hocus pocus or conspiracy theory. It is science, scientific fact, within a certain degree of credibility, within a certain degree of error. Frankly, a little more error than engineering in some areas, but in some not. Just like engineering is a science, sociology is a well-respected scientific study taught in most all universities, the study of social relationships and how they affect human behavior, how they affect you, outside of anything that you can do about it. And one of the things that you can do is be aware of it. If it does happen, you can't do anything about it. Some things we can't. Don't be demoralized by it. Realize that. That's sociology. I specifically studied in graduate school, and a lot of people know this knowledge already. You can look around and see it in everyday life. And people that never went to get a graduate degree in sociology, criminology, which is what I studied, criminology, and it matches with what I learned in criminology, sociology. So a lot of it, and take it a step further, what a lot of people are afraid to say, that I'm going to tell you the truth and tell you how it really is. You could really be put in jail for no reason whatsoever at all. Didn't do any damn thing wrong. In fact, for doing something right. Or for going about your everyday life. You could end up in jail and even accused of a heinous crime on death row and be subject to execution today, as there is someone on death row, Crothers, going to be executed today. Now, there's a lot of debate about whether or not he did that. I'm not going to get into a particular case. You can look at it either way. What I'm concerned about is the victims and the family members. But criminology is the study, and this affects you. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get this message out, because I'm going to tell you what's going on in the state of Tennessee with specific facts and evidence to, I believe, conclusively prove. And I know what I believe. I'm not fooled, and a lot of you aren't. And I'm going to spell it out for you. Exactly how crooked the system is. While you're going to jail, on your way to jail, you look at the person putting you there, the judge that put you there, or the prosecutor that lied on you, and they do lie a lot, a hell of a lot. The judges lie a hell of a lot. And you're just an honest citizen and you wonder how I got here. Well, I'm fixing to tell you. I'm fixing to tell you how you got there. One of the reasons is they benefit off a certain amount of crime. Whether it's crime or not, they benefit off calling something crime to be able to say you're dangerous and they need to lock you up. And then they benefit from prison corporations. They benefit from police. They need more and more to put more people in jail for more crime that's only existing in their mind as far as what you did, the street crime, and then the people that are putting you there. And this is a different take on reality, because this is reality. The story they're selling you is distorted reality, where while there is a certain amount of street crime that needs to be dealt with, it is far less harmful than what they're doing. People in government power, police, corporations, than what they're doing every day, all day long. And they cover that with pointing at street criminals. It's the street criminals. We need to build more prisons, more police to deal with street criminals, and make up crimes and sometimes lie to get people through the system when they didn't do a damn thing. Just one example I've mentioned pretty often, because people know, is the over 2,500 people that they lied about at first. They lied about it at first. They said it was 600 people that they falsely arrested for drunk driving. And then they finally admitted it was 2,500 after they were forced into the truth. So those are people that they needed to put in jail, to hire more troopers, excuse to hire more troopers. They've hired more troopers and have more jail cells in order to fund private prisons and sheriff's department. We need more because there's more crime. When in reality, the truth is, there was a hell of a lot of false arrests. Now, they don't want to talk about that, and they want to lie about it. And they lie about it under oath to this day. So that's just a small snapshot of reality, and there's more, a lot more. And I'm going to lay it out for you. My case, they trained me how to do this. They started the fight, and we will finish it. We will finish it. I didn't choose this fight. God chose it for me. So if you don't like it, play along. Entertaining, but if you do, and a lot of people do, subscribe to the channel, like and share and spread this. I'm going to explain to you, and it's not coming directly from me as far as the science. I learned this, and then I look around and say, hey, yeah, that's what's going on. I can see it very clearly. I was inside the system, and I knew that was what was going on. That's why I signed up on a prepaid legal program to help police officers that are wrongly terminated. Because if you stand up and fight for the public, the system, people in government power, the has-beens and the lees with their Christian banner will demolish you for doing right. For doing right, even trying to get along. They don't care. So it's not the type of thing where you can just go along to get along either. They're gonna get you one way or the other if they need you for a number, for a stat, or for whatever purpose. And we're gonna show you specific facts and some stuff I know about what you need to know so you won't be demoralized when the squealing pigs come after you, and we got them squealing. And that's one of the things you can do, keep them squealing, is public information. And even if you can't do anything about it, and sometimes you can, realistically, they can put you in jail. You can hire a lawyer. You can be completely innocent. And you can go to jail and be on death row. That is a fact. It has happened. Now, they try to say that it doesn't. I'm going to try to convince you today that the system allows crime intentionally set up to put us in jail and to let them, when they do commit a crime that is caught, they have no way out of, to give them off-ramps at a lot of different stages in the system, and also to decriminalize harmful acts that they do. They do a lot more harmful things than one street criminal does. And we're going to explain to you, go into the crimes that they commit based on science, based on sociology. A little spongier than engineering, but it's still a science that you can look at the facts and say, yeah, that's what's going on. And then know when they're doing that to you. Don't be demoralized. Get a lawyer if you can. Sometimes maybe represent yourself and fight peacefully in a courtroom. They're not peaceful people. That's why you need to get up and vote them out. These dangerous people out. And also, thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you. That's the people cussing me out. My views go way up when you act like a nut. Yeah. I don't have to go on. I can stay right here if I want to. Yeah. You want to be a foul mouth, not listen to a damn word I say? That's fine with me. I can do whatever I want to do. It's a free country, isn't it? I'll just park out in front of this house. So we got some fans here. We got some haters, and I'm a coward. That's what the news media says about me. I'm a coward. Does it look like I'm a coward right here on the road? So yeah, I'll just stay right here, just camp out right here. You want to bring attention to yourself? I'm in a real fight. I'm not a toy. Yeah, I'm not a toy. I'm in a real fight. No, I'm not leaving. You buy, you leave. You're the one that yelled at me. I didn't say a damn word to you. You want to fight with somebody that's a real fighter? Let's hear your version of events. You think I'm a toy? I'd advise you to change your attitude. Yeah, you don't talk to people like that.
Get out of the street, man. Come on.
I don't have to get out of the street. There's no cars coming.
Why are you screaming at them?
Because he screamed at me.
So you're 12 years old?
No, I'm 61 with a JD, and I have constitutional rights that I'm exercising. So, you don't like my constitutional rights either? Hey, I don't care. Yeah, I got 3 million people. No, I'm trying to get out of truth. It's called a fighter.
He likes attention.
Yeah, no, yeah, I do. Please bring me some more so I can get the word out about voting for creeps like that don't know how to talk to people. And you evidently don't either. I've had good conversations with you before.
Yeah, why are you voicing at me?
Because you're telling me to get out of the street, order me around. Don't you order me around? Have I gave you one damn order? No, I'm smarter than that.
Over, man. There's a car.
Well, I hope I get run over. Listen to you. You hope I get run over? I don't hope you get run over. You dirtbag thug. You showed your ass, didn't you? Hope I get run over. I've got a family, and you say that to me. Well, you're going to let your kids hear what you're saying to somebody that's running for public office? Yeah, look at you. Try to out-argue somebody that's got a law degree while you're a nut.
You're the dummy sitting here screaming in the middle of the street.
I'm doing a show. What are you doing? Keep your nose on your face. Yeah, so here we go. Here's the nuts. Yeah, I'm a toy, ain't I? I'm a toy. I'm running. I'm running. Look at these people, man. Look at these jokesters telling me to get out of the road. There's nothing coming. I got on the wrong side of the road. On the side of the road. Look at these people, man. Corrupt, cool people trying to do a show, and they yell at me from their porch. Cuss me from their porch, and I'm the problem. That's how these libertards do. They don't like what you're saying, and they want to argue with you about facts. They have no degree in sociology, but they can tell you how everything in the world is run. This man here has always been nice to me, but he don't want to piss off his neighbors because he's afraid of them. And what he ought to be is afraid of the truth, because I'm not running anywhere. Got kids in there, tells his kids he hopes I get run over by a car. Wow. Can you believe these liberals? This is Knoxville, Tennessee. This is Knoxville, Tennessee right here. This is why I couldn't win a city council election, because of people with kids like that. Show theirself, and yeah, so that's all right. I don't have to shut down my show, and Knoxville police can't make me shut down my show. If they put me in jail, you'll just see this. Trying to walk down the street on a public street in the city of Knoxville, doing a show, educating the public about how public officials are putting you in jail wrongfully. And these studs over here, these haters, for no reason, never met them, start yelling at me like a bunch of creeps. And this man comes out of his house and tells me to get out of the street protecting his neighbors. What, Knoxville? This is Knoxville, Tennessee. Liberal people who, man, it's horrible. I feel sorry for the police officers here. And let's see if a police officer comes by and wants to talk to me. I'm on a public street. I'm not in the road. There's no sidewalk. I'm doing everything I can to stay out of people's way. I have every right to do this. If they try to stop me, you're going to see live wire. Now, I'm not threatening violence, but I'm not going to be intimidated by these thugs. So yeah, okay. We'll keep broadcasting. Thank you all. You see what corruption and people like that try to run people like me off. They ought to thank me for running and trying. If they don't like me, they don't have to vote against me. Trying to interrupt my show, cussing at me, using foul language. So, you know, hey, maybe this is the show. So we were talking before we were rudely interrupted by trash, by pigs, and he can watch this show. That man's a dirty pig coming out and telling me what to do. I advise him not to put his hands on me and try to force me anywhere. Little fella, I'm a little bigger than you. And I'm not on your damn property. This is called public property. Stay the hell off my channel. So, wow, really. I'm on the governor's ballot, people. I have a right to do this. If this was Bill Lee out here, he'd have a right to do this. But they'd love to put a candidate in jail. And that's all right if they do. Falsely, we'll write out paperwork and get them in federal court again. Done that, been there, won that. So we'll see what happens here. They don't have no right. The government has no right to adjudicate my personality. I'm charismatic. That's not illegal. It's not. Raising your voice is not illegal. Disorderly conduct is in a public place, which I'm at, with intent to cause public annoyance alarm with no legitimate purpose, causes a disturbance to other people. This is a legitimate purpose. See, they have a little problem with me knowing the law. I've got a doctor of jurisprudence, a master of arts in criminology. But what I know, and I don't care if anybody in this crooked city hates me. There's a lot of them that love me. I really don't care. It doesn't matter to me. Sociology teaches you, don't be demoralized by creeps. They don't know what they're dealing with. They think this is just a game to me. It's not a game. This is real life fighting for all of you all. It's not just fighting for me. You'll be treated the same way you are a lot. And they get their cronies. You can turn on my YouTube channel. They get their cronies, they get their flunkies that are drinking their Kool-Aid trying to fight their fight for them. And I'm telling you right now, they're picking the wrong fight. With me, I'm not a toy. I'm not violent. I believe in 150% in self-defense. And it will be a very bad day for them. I got that right under the Constitution, under God. Leave me alone. You don't like me? Go away. You want to argue with me? We'll light you up. So that's Knoxville, Tennessee. I wouldn't come to this crooked city. This is one of the most crooked cities in the state. They think Memphis is bad. I got more votes out of Memphis than I did Knoxville. It's good people in Memphis, Tennessee. So let's hope that we don't go to jail today for exercising my constitutional rights. I'm not even a First Amendment auditor. I'm not auditing anybody. When people act decent and tell me that they don't want to be recorded, even if they tell me they don't want to be recorded, I don't record them. I'm out here doing a show out in public, running for public office, trying to get a message out to help society from a well-educated point of view. If I'm lying about my degrees and my knowledge from their schools, that's a crime. But these idiots have no education. They're drinking the Kool-Aid from the establishment, and they want more roads. They want more roads closed down in Knoxville where everybody's got to walk, and like the Gay Street Bridge. And you know, it's telltale. Republican Democrats, same in the city of Knoxville. You have a former Republican governor, Bill has been, and present mayor, India Cannon. I don't care if she hates me. I've got a right to be here on the planet, life, liberty, and due process of law, no matter what her opinions of me is. Didn't vote for her, wouldn't. As a person, I've never seen her do anything wrong, but I know she doesn't run the city of Knoxville right. Stand right beside Bill Haslam, closing down the bridge that they were standing on, cutting traffic. And I've talked to people in South Knoxville. They want that bridge open. They'll never get it open because of idiots like that that vote for her. So crazy people. I'll go down this road every morning that I want to, broadcasting live on a public sidewalk to the world, and they don't even know, and I could care less if they don't like it. They best damn well better keep their freaking hands off of me if they know what's good for them. This pig squealing. What a wonderful introduction beginning to the show. Rewind the video after it's over. Watch the pig squealing. Just walking down the road doing a show. That's how they do. Everybody deserves to be treated with respect. I didn't say nothing to them. Just because they don't like what I say. Well, I might not like what they say. You know what I would do if I didn't like what they say? I would turn the video off. I would look the other way till they got down a public sidewalk. You know, that's just totally uncalled for. That shows you a small snippet of people that ain't in power, how they act. Imagine people in power, what they do that don't like you. They use their power illegitimately against you. That man told me, he's got 3 kids in there. Well, I hope they didn't overhear him, that he didn't care if I got run over by a car. Ordering me around to get out of the road when no cars were coming, and I was. And no thank you, Mr. Jackass. My mother taught me to stay out of the road when I needed to. And wow, what an example of a Knoxvillian. Not a good example, but an example. And he's the one who brought attention on himself. Not me. So I'm just saying, just trying to do a show out in public. You gotta be out in public. See, they want you to hide if you're running for public office. They want you to be Joe Biden and so nobody will see you, nobody will vote for you, and even make laws to make it illegal to knock on people's doors and rule against laws that protect people that are politically campaigning. That's what the governor does. So let's talk about get back to what we were originally talking about. And wow, Knoxville, Tennessee, you gotta just love it. What stupid people. I told you, a lot of Knoxvillians are stupid as dumb as a damn doorknob. You know, people, and I know they'll be turning on the show now since I was talking about it. They shouldn't have stuck their ugly head up in my show. You know, I come back through here without my camera on when I'm going home. And you know, talk to me then, yell at me then. You're the one that put it out on my show. And they think this is a game. This is just a game. I'm just playing, trying to get popular. It's not a game. People don't understand. I'm not a politician like people do. This is something that I care about. I cared about people before I ever got wrongfully terminated from the Highway Patrol. That's why I was out, protecting people's lives and protecting people's billfolds. Just because the state did me wrong, and they did, absolutely. And other troopers that have wrongfully caused people's death on the roads, they give them awards. I'm just telling you, what you think, not listening to the government, is probably absolutely true. And let's see if the police come out here. Hang on, they might come out here and try to talk to me. And you know, I got a law degree. What does every lawyer tell you? Talk to police, spill the beans, or say, you don't have a right, Fifth Amendment. Not that I did anything wrong. I'm not saying nothing to anybody, any cop. I mean, you know, if you want to watch what happened, rewind the damn video. I can't believe, but yeah, most of them, I know a lot of them, and they're really good people, Knoxville cops. I really feel bad for them, the circumstance they're under. And police officers are good people. Some of them aren't very smart, and I have to educate them. But we're gonna do what we're gonna do. And I'm gonna run for public office. And if two idiots have me arrested, and they did one time before, not those, but in Chattanooga, and I represent right now millions of people, and two idiots can call the police because the police don't like me, some of them, then they'll arrest a political candidate that's got probably millions of people watching them. Millions of people want to hear what they say, and two idiots will stop that. They got more rights than you all do. Shut my channel down. You know, hopefully they won't. If they do, remember, the brand, Charles Van Morgan. I got more scars than Mr. Donald J. Trump. This is a real fight, really true, and we're not going away. You see the fight in real live action. Fortunately, it wasn't any worse than that. It could be. And if something happens to me, you see, I've been trying to tell y'all, and a lot of people listen, thank you. The more eyes I have on this, the safer I am. It'll be harder for them to justify. But I'm not suicidal. So if they say I committed suicide, they're lying. Somebody did it. And I don't take unnecessary risk. And I didn't step a foot on the property. And I'm not suicidal, and I don't take unnecessary risks. So it's not an accident if I end up floating in the river. And I don't know, I try to take measures not to, but I'm just telling you the truth. And it's not suicide. So you can probably pretty much pin it on a dirtbag working for the government. So I'm just telling you the real level of the fight. Did any other candidates get this level of opposition? No, because they go along with the program. They're not really fighting for what's right. How you doing? Take care. So we're talking about the government, people in government power. Government's a good thing. Government's a great thing. We got to have government. I'm not anti-government. I'm anti-people in power corruption. And if there's not any, I don't have anything to worry about. I don't have anything to talk about. But hold on, there's a hell of a lot to talk about, isn't there? A hell of a lot. Because there's a lot of government corruption. Now, they don't just come out right out and tell you like those nuts, we hate your guts and cuss you out, which, go ahead. Oh, I'm going to turn the channel off because some people hate me. That's so funny to me. I mean, not only did I grow up without a dad fighting my own battles, without a lot of assistance or support and help, I got a sociology degree that teaches you the status quo sometimes is wrong as hell. So, you know, I look at what God wants, look at what's right, and go forward. And sometimes stuff like that's rocket fuel. So thank you all for helping. And yeah, just walking down the street doing my show. And you know, that's just so stupid for people to act like that. And it doesn't hurt my feelings. But that's just what you see. There's more going on behind the scenes. Support the channel financially. Help me grow, get this message out. So we're telling you today talking about government corruption. There's a lot to talk about. So the show goes on. And this isn't a fight I chose. It's a fight God gave me. And a fight they chose for me. So let's go after it. That's what I do. That's what I've been trained for. And both academically and physically prepared. You know, when I was a trooper, I used to lift weights. I'll show you a boxing bag I had at home. I used to practice ground fighting. I was ready for a confrontation if it came along. Now, I had means and ways of getting out of them where it wouldn't come to that. But if it ever come to that, I was ready. I put more people in jail justifiably for their own safety, safely, peacefully, at night by myself, than any trooper in the state. So anybody that thinks I'm a coward, which is what the news says, what the Highway Patrol says, it's got some damn bad data, some real bad data, which makes it better for me. It makes it easier. Because when the enemy's got a facade about the truth, the impact just a little harder, isn't it? I mean, you know, that's just tactics 101. So, you know, hey, I'm scared to death. Yeah, right. I mean, but anyhow, the enemy's stupid. That's how I know we can beat them. So the government, people in government power, will put you in jail for nothing. They're already doing that. Tip of the iceberg. They do it all kinds of ways, all kinds of different crimes. We see it in the DUI enforcement, but it's also in homicide arrest and in all kinds of false arrests and false accusations and false charges that are a little more hard to prove than a blood test, good or bad. So it's a little more difficult to uncover the other false charges. They put people in jail all the time for a purpose. It's not crime. Sometimes, very rarely, they got to do a little bit to justify their existence and to show the public that they are doing the job to a small, minute degree, but there's a hell of a lot of people going to jail that don't belong there. And the DUI arrests just show that. That's the tip of the iceberg. And then the colonel saying that none of them were illegitimate just tells you none of the arrests are illegitimate. It's what they claim. Do you believe that? None of their DUI arrests are illegitimate. They all should have been put in jail. That's what he said. He also said that you have no constitutional rights. You don't care what you think your rights are, you're getting a ride. Meaning that you might get out of it in jail, in a courtroom, if you get a jury and spend enough money that's going to them and their system. Lawyers are part of their system. They're officers of the court. Even if you get out of a crime, you're paying to some damn lawyer here. And a lot of them are crooked as hell. They're super rich. That's why we got the fraud of the insurance thing going, because it builds a big bucket of money that attorneys can get money out of. It's the system they've designed that you pay into and reap nothing out of it a lot of times. Unless you have a horrific accident, and you're probably not going to have a horrific accident, odds are. And if you do have a wreck, it's not going to be an injury wreck, but the wrecks that they take are horrific every damn time, and they get all that money, and the money's there because you paid into the insurance program. The system is set up. Heads they win, tails you lose. And I just want to say this. I got a call from the great news writer, journalist, radio talk show host, guest host right now that is doing a wonderful, magnificent job, a great man fighting the system, one of the very few. So if you get a chance, look up his name, read some of his material. He is literally right now fighting. He's in the fight. He's in the fight, fighting for you. And I'm fighting for you. And there are a few fighters, not many. He's an exceptional one, exceptionally talented man, love him to death, a brother, and not a blood brother, but a brother in the fight. And he's fighting the fight for you to stop the insurance fraud. You're paying money every day that goes into a pot that's getting bigger and bigger every day. So insurance people, attorneys, lawyers in the system can get super, super rich, billions of dollars insurance money. And even in law school, they said insurance companies are set up. This is a law school professor. He didn't know I was writing the stuff that slips out down and memorizing it. Because it's not what it says on the books in the law. You can take all that and throw it in the damn river. That doesn't matter. It's a joke to them. They hope you're going by it because they're not. That's meant to deceive you. This is what it says and that's what we go by. No, it's not. No, it's not. They're crooked as hell. They lie. Their courtrooms are full of liars. I'm not talking about defendants. I'm talking about judges and prosecutors, defense attorneys, and prosecuting attorneys. A lot of them. Now, not every single damn one of them, but I would say for the most part of them. For the most part. It's the system. That's the way it's set up. But David Toulis is fighting that, the insurance fraud, where you pay an excessive amount of insurance and get practically nothing back. If you're just joining, welcome, welcome. This is the Charles Van Morgan Show. We are talking about how the government abuses people and sets up the criminal justice system. So you go in, there's no off-ramps, even if you're not guilty. They're executing somebody today at 10 o'clock, Mr. Crothers. Now, whether he's guilty or not, I don't know. I'd have to be in the courtroom. I know I don't trust the Tennessee court system, and I know damn well I don't trust the Tennessee governor waving that white flag, holding that Bible up. Get it down and read it a little bit. How about where it talks about oppressing the poor? It's not a new phenomenon. Something, if you read it, you ought to be familiar with it. That's his job as governor, held accountable to God, not held accountable to this earth. He's held accountable on this earth to his funders, who are crooked as hell, and a lot of them should be in jail, which is the other side of the story that we're going to show you facts and evidence. It's very important. While you're on your way to jail, and even criminals on their way to jail, and remember, this is science. This is not as hard as engineering with that degree of certainty, but even engineering is not certain about everything they come up with. There's degrees of error in weight-bearing loads of metal, but similarly, they can know some things to a certain degree of certainty. And in sociology, it's a science too. It's a science, and it can tell you some things, and I'm going to tell you, within a certain degree of error, although not as precise as engineering, it is still a science, and there are some things that we do know about how society treats people against their will, illegitimately for their self. So, and that is what's going on, and it's portrayed in the Bible through hundreds and hundreds of years. The oppression of the poor goes on today, and I know, I get it. We will never stop the oppression of the poor completely on this planet. We're in a fallen world, I get it. But it is so horrific right now. You are being so mistreated And I think a lot of you may not even understand, and I'm trying to help you understand that from an educated point of view. No one else will explain it to you. God sent Van, and they chose to fight, so we'll fight it. And I've got some real scars. That's why I'm not a toy. I know what these people are capable of. I've been through it. I'm on the other side. They didn't destroy me. They're never going to. That's God's providence. That's what I trust. That's what they don't know. Now, I don't feel sorry for myself at all. I'm right where God wants me to be. And if you're having a lot of problems now, let me just talk about this spiritual thing and we'll get on with the show. Talk about the second half. The worst part is you go to jail. Well, that's bad. You go to jail without any crime or for far too longer than you should. That happens every day. We're going to explain that, show you that. And the other part we'll tell you when we get a little closer, so hold on, you'll hear the other part. That's just as bad, maybe even a little worse than you going to jail not supposed to be there. But let me talk about the spiritual part to maybe help in this difficult endeavor, which is to point out the truth, is that no matter where you're at in life, if you're in God's will, and you're in God's will, if you pray and ask God to forgive you and help you and put you in His God's will, then at that moment, you are. So your life, even in a very difficult time, and this should help, it helps me, you're in God's will. You're where you're supposed to be in the difficult time. God allows difficult times for whatever purpose. Sometimes we'll never know till we're on the other side. But if you're in a hard, difficult time, and you have been mistreated by people in power, and it's horrific, maybe you're in jail, or maybe you got friends or family that are in jail, or going through a sickness or some hard time, just remember that God has allowed that. And being in God's will should be peace. It is to me. But that's what God wants for your life. And that's what you should try to obtain, to be in God's will. And if you're in God's will in a hard time, then take peace, and this is where God wants me to be. I don't know why. Ask God to show you. And don't judge God. Don't say, God, I don't think that you should have put me here. You had no right to do this to me, except God's providence and His will. That doesn't mean don't ask Him to help you get out of it as quickly as possible. Learn what you can and go on, but accept that you're in God's will. And that's good enough for the time, and trust God. That's why I don't feel sorry for myself. God wants Charles Van Morgan to be right here doing what he's doing. That's where He put me. He's allowed bad stuff to happen. I don't feel sorry. Had things gone the other way, I wouldn't have been in God's will. And had I done things differently, I wouldn't have been in God's will. So what I'm saying is, in difficult times, accept the fact, if you are and strive to be in God's will, that's what God has planned. So you're blessed in God's will, even in a difficult time. So thank God in all things, what it says. So we're coming up on the beautiful scenery, our signature view, and we're going to explain to you how crooked the government is in two different distinct ways. And I know there's arguments against all this stuff. I don't buy any of them. I've been educated in life, lived out of it, and I don't see it the way some people see it, and usually the people that are in power are the ones telling you how to look at things. And they're crooked as hell. Let's see how many people got in here. And we're going to talk about the pigs squealing, how the people in power are squealing right now, what makes them squeal, and specific incidences of what's actually going on in society. We got a few people in here, so we got some contributions. Thank you. And if you can, like, share, and comment, and help us get this message out against people in government power. And I'm going to explain from a scientific point of view what they're doing if we can ever get across this road. So we're getting across the road right now. We'll show you the beautiful view. Call your friends and family and have them tune into the show. So I'm Charles Van Morgan if you're just joining me. We're talking about the pigs squealing. You heard some squeal today on the side of the road. And in their houses, wished I was dead. I hope I got run over. Wow. And teaching his kids that. Man, oh man. I hope I don't. I got a family. I wouldn't want him to get run over. So yeah, you can rewind the video. Don't do it now. And watch the whole show and we'll talk to you. And you know, God's providence, some pigs squealed. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing? A lot of times too, people don't see God. They say there's no God, or they pray and nothing happens the way they think that it should. Sometimes it does. But if it doesn't happen immediately the way they think it should, then they say there's no God or God's not hearing my prayer. When God works sometimes in mysterious ways. It doesn't work out the way you think that it should, the way you got designed in your mind. It works out in a better way. We don't know what's better sometimes. We think we do, but you got to put your faith and confidence in the hand of Almighty God in heaven. He's not on the earth. He doesn't think and not under the same rules as we are. He's God Almighty. He created all the rules, and he knows what's going on better than you do, better than Charles Van Morgan does. So trust in the Lord. You know, there's a particular verse in the Bible that says, lean not unto your own understanding. That means don't completely rely on that. It doesn't say ignore it, but in all your ways, trust in God. Acknowledge God. And I acknowledge God in everything. So a lot of times, you don't see God working in things because he didn't work it out the way you wanted to. You have to look for God in things sometimes. And I've made it a habit here lately in the pretty recent few years to try to look for the hand of God in things. And I'll be doggone if I don't see him a lot more by figuring out how he's worked things out. Not sometimes in the way I thought, but he worked things out. Maybe not exactly what I thought, but if what would happen that I wanted to happen, I might be 6 foot underground. So, for example, in the highway patrol, I stopped more people at night by myself, but for the public safety, that's what my heart was in, more than any other trooper in the state. For you, risking my life. I took the oath seriously and did my job effectively, better than any trooper in the state. The numbers don't lie. But had I still been on the job, anybody that makes that number of stops, confronts that number of people, is probably going to get shot and or killed or beat to death. So maybe, although it didn't happen the way I wanted to, that was a good thing. Not that God couldn't have protected me, he could have, but maybe he did, just not in the way that I wanted. So you have to praise God because I'm not dead, which is a huge major victory. If you're still alive, praise God. There's a lot of people I grew up with that are dead now, and I believe that God protected me from that. Now, albeit not in the way I wanted to, maybe for a better purpose. I don't know. I trust God. I trust God. And more than horses and armies. And that's what you should do. So if you don't see God in things, maybe take a look. Psalm 19 says, the heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Look up in the heavens, you'll see how glorious God is. Look at beautiful nature. As you take a look now, you'll see how beautiful things are. So, thank y'all for coming. We got just a few people. Like, share, comment, help the algorithm spread. Thank you for the contributions. Help us get the message out. We have so you don't think I'm a pastor. I know I talk a lot about spiritual things, about the Bible, but that's because that's what I believe. But I'm not a pastor. I'm not pastoring a church. So every now and then I try to throw in a cuss word so you'll know that I'm not better than thou, highly spiritual. I'm a real human, just like you, and I say things I shouldn't say, cuss words sometimes, although Michelle's trying to keep me from that. So damn it, I'll try to say a cuss word so you can show I'm just a real person. I'm not an angel from heaven, trust me. But I do know a few truths. I do know a few things, and we're fixing to lay down the law of sociology, explain it to you with some facts, evidence to show you what's going on right now in your Tennessee state government that's so very abusive and harmful to you. And they promote poverty for a purpose. They want it. And they want people to go to jail, and they allow a certain amount of crime to let you think that they're doing something, because they have to have crime, because if they don't have a certain amount of crime, they have less prisons to profit on. They have less police that they need. So when there's a lot of crime, they say we need more police, need more jails. Use that excuse when there's a lot of stuff they call crime. It's not necessarily crime just because the government says it is. These are some criminals in public office that are calling you a criminal when you didn't hurt anybody. And they are, and that's what should be a crime, but it's not called a crime all the time. So they have to have that certain amount of crime, and they're allowing it, and they have to have poverty because it facilitates crime, and they're making policies that cause poverty, that causes crime. And if there is not much crime, then the circular argument is our huge prisons and huge law enforcement and huge budget is keeping down crime. So we need more to keep it this way. So it's a circular argument. If there's more crime, they need more people, more money. If there's less crime, the more people and the more money is doing it, so they need even more to keep it that way. It's a circular argument. They win every time because they're in control of the damn argument. They're in control. And it's a circular argument. That's why they don't like me on the cell phone talking to millions of people all over the world, and it may be the same in your country, millions of people all over the world that are explaining this stuff to you. That Blackburn News getting ready to do some more of that. Republican Party in the state of Tennessee, and the Democrats are no better. They're both squealing pigs, and we're going to talk about the squealing pigs today. And they put you in jail for doing nothing sometimes, as evidenced by the DUI arrest. It's a small drop in the bucket. And then the kicker is that they commit harmful acts of society. They don't even call them crimes. Way more than you do. And they don't even go to jail for it. They don't illegalize crimes that they do. But they sure as hell punish you. They sure as hell punish you. So for stuff that you didn't even do. Stuff you didn't even do. So let me adjust my shirt. My brother-in-law told me it was all out the other day. So I listen to people. Any useful comments, I'll try to apply. And so we're talking today, and I got a lot of notes. Hang on, listen, it gets better. About squealing pigs. Appropriately enough, there's an unmarked KPD car. Appropriately enough, we had some squealing pigs come out and fuss at us, didn't we? And well, on the way here, rewind the tape if you missed it. So we're talking about squealing pigs. Hold on, it gets real good. And this unbridled news, Charles Van Morgan. So they're squealing like pigs. People in power, we're exposing them. That's one reason they're squealing like pigs. All 1 minute. 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 1 min And they tell you that crime is the problem. That's what people in power tell you. Their messaging. They tell you the poor are the danger. They tell you more police, more prisons, and tougher laws will keep you safe. And we're going to show you some evidence of this. It's alarming. Well, they're more dangerous than any of us. One criminal. Science, statistics shows that. It's not hocus pocus conspiracy. This is sociological engineering that is real. And that's what they say in public. So this guy's wanting some attention, ain't he? So we'll give him a little attention. So if you don't think I'm prolific, look at all the people try to shut me up. So we'll cover up the mic so they try to shut the, well, he's gonna sing now. he's gonna sing. So yeah, but they tell you crime is a problem. They tell you the poor are the danger. They tell you more police, more prisons, tougher laws will keep you safe. That's what they say in public. Here's what the data actually shows. That the people in power cause more death, more destruction, more financial harm than any street criminal combined. So they are more dangerous, people in power. We're going to show you evidence of this. Going to present you my case, lay it out there. We're going to convict the pigs in power, make them squeal. People in power are more dangerous than any street criminal. That's a fact. And this is what they say. Here's what the data actually shows. The people in power cause more death, more destruction, and financial harm than every street criminal combined. And they write the laws to make sure they are never called criminals for it. Tonight, name names, document facts, and Tennessee recips. Today we're going to do that. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a book that's been in print for 40 years, and every page describes what's happening in the state right now. I'm Charles Van Morgan, and I'm going to turn the light on this stuff. The Rich Get Richer and the Poor Get Prison. It's a book by Jeffrey Ryman and Mr. Leigton, Leighton. And we're going to go over their social scientists that are in every major public university that published that book, and we're going to talk about some of the things in that book, and then look at reality and see if it jives with reality. Please contribute to the show. Go on the Drove, and it's overlooked by the government. So, and why pigs squeal, and which ones are squealing right now? Pigs squeal for pain. They squeal for fear. They squeal for hunger at the trough, or because they are losing traction. And today you're going to hear all four. And I'm going to tell you exactly which pig is making which sound and why. Pigs squealing. And that's what they are, the big fat pigs. Pain and fear, because a federal lawsuit right now is moving forward in the federal court. The light is on. They use my legal right to file suit against me. They told me not to file suit against people. How you doing? And that wasn't a very good question. And I filed suit in federal court to try to get my law license from the state who allowed me to go years and years to school collecting money and federal student loan money. But then when I went to get my law license to compete with them, they denied me a law license. So what do you think happens when you turn down somebody that knows the law, those you're violating law? What do you think happens when they deny you a right? Well, the person sues them, and that's what I did. Use my knowledge to sue them. Sued the hell out of them by name. You can look it up. My accusations are on the record for the world to see. Swore with penalty of perjury. It was dismissed on a technical issue, but it wasn't a frivolous lawsuit. And I've corrected the technical issue, I believe. And when I went to get my law license the last time, you can listen to the recording, they used my previous legal, legitimate litigation against them. Lawyers used me suing them to say, because you sued us, even though they sue people every day. I'm not kidding about this stuff. I'm telling you how wicked they are. What pigs they are, squealing pigs. They squealed. They told me because I sued them that they weren't going to give me my law license. So what I do? Sued them again. What else do you do? I keep doing what's right to do. Don't listen to them, because you have a right to try to use the courts, and you should use the courts, not violence, use the courts. But they're saying we sue every day. Every day, all day. We got business set up with a flagpole out. Come on in, give us your money. We know the judge. We give to his campaign. We'll help you out of a court case. We don't know the law, but we're friends with him. I mean, they won't tell you that, but that's what happens. But a real lawyer, somebody that would have been licensed like me to go in there and contest some of these rogue court hearings and act appropriately in the court system, I agree to go by their rules. They won't have none of me. I'm not in their elite class. I'm not on the right conveyor belt with the rich people. My conveyor belt don't go to the pot of gold that you paid them. So they literally used that against me, so I sued them again. And this time made it a little better, and I won a ruling in federal court. Just filing it is a win. Showing them I'm not playing by your rules. You don't tell me not to exercise constitutional right. I will anyway. You can tell me that all day long. There are means to deal with frivolous lawsuits. My lawsuit already this time has not been adjudicated as frivolous, although it's not frivolous. I'm not saying the judge won't. I don't know. I know it's a win to file the lawsuit. And also, just the other day, I won a ruling. The state was trying to dismiss it. How you doing? The state was trying to dismiss it, and it didn't get dismissed. And I made a motion to have an amended complaint to make it better because of the stuff the state was telling me that I needed to correct, so I corrected it. And they didn't like me doing that. Listening to the enemy. Get your ear down there and listen. They'll tell you what you need to do, what's hurting them. They'll tell you where to punch them, where they squeal, not literally, figuratively. So that's what they're doing. So they're squealing about that. They use my legal right to file suit against me. That tells you everything about who they are. You don't have no legal rights. Hunger at the trough causes them to squeal. Core Civic, Advanced Financial, the Hassle Machine demanding their contracts, their campaigns, checks, and their free ride. So losing traction. That's what makes them squeal. The ungathered, the 3.5 million people in the state of Tennessee that either weren't registered or were registered and didn't participate in the 2022 election, and the ones that voted for Mr. Bill Lee, about 1.2 million, that were fooled by him and are now realizing that. So there's, quite frankly, possibly close to 4.5 to 5 million people that can potential spear of people that we can go after, as compared to their probably less than 1 million when people get the word out. So we overwhelmingly have the odds, if we can wake people up, to win an election and be able to sue and have a right to free and fair courts, which we don't have right now. So I'm going to show you what a 4-year academic study of the criminal justice system says about how things really work in society. And then I'm going to name the names, the Tennessee Receps and the Tennessee Cover-Up, so So stay with me. Pigs squeal when the light comes on, and I'm Charles Van Morgan. I'm not turning the light off. That pigs can squeal from their house all they want to. And we're not going to let that deter us. What the system actually does, the setup. So here's what this is about. They say it is for public safety, the criminal justice system. That's what it's actually, here's what it's actually for. That's what they tell you in their messaging. Two professors, Jeffrey Ryman and Paul Leaton, spent 40 years studying the American criminal justice system. 11 editions of the same book. Their conclusions never changed. The system does not fail to reduce crime by accident. Doesn't fail by accident. It's built on the purpose to protect the people at the top and keep everybody else in their place. Every law, every arrest, every prison sentence designed to maintain one image. The poor are danger, look at them, not at us. And that's what they are trying to portray. That they are fighting crime when they want it. That the criminals are a danger and they are allowing it and promoting it because it helps them have a reason to exist, get more money and more power. That's sociology. That's not conspiracy theory. Here's the key insight. When you judge a system by what it produces rather than what it claims, it's not failing, it is succeeding in allowing crime. It produces exactly what it was designed to produce. A high level of crime. That's what the people in power want. Crime on you, not crime on them, and that's what they allow. What they say, here's what they say. We need more police, tougher sentences, and more prisons to keep communities safe. Now that's what they tell you. How many, turn on YouTube and these public officials and listen to what they're saying. I mean, they just keep saying that same thing. More police, the governor's wanting more troopers, they put out more, and more money. They want longer sentences, and I'll show you some specific cases where we need to lock them up more or longer when they're actually the ones that were part of the fatal incident. And the reason why the fatal incident was caused was because somebody was going to jail for longer. They were trying to escape that. Just like I used to think and still do to some extent, the tougher DUI laws that we get, the more they rake people of their money by higher, stiffer fines that goes to attorneys in their system and the court, and the longer jail sentences for a simple DUI crime that does not result in any wreck or any harm to society, and the person just needs to know better and they throw the book at them, it causes more people to run because of the seriousness of the crime, causes more, because of the seriousness of the punishment, causes more people to get killed. They're trying to get out of that severe punishment, running from the system. Was it more lenient for first-time offenders and people hadn't learned their lesson yet? A lot of people wouldn't run. There wouldn't be as much fatalities on the road. Blame the system. Blame the system, not the Vietnam soldiers. Remember that? Blame the war, not the soldiers. And that's what they did to me. Blame the war on me when they set up the system that perpetrates people running because they're so strict on people that I had nothing to do with. Was against that. What the evidence shows. Here's what they say. We need more police, tougher sentences, more prisons to keep communities safe. Here's what the evidence shows. These policies have never significantly reduced crime. They have only increased the number of people in prison while leaving the people causing the most harm completely untouched. They're not doing stuff about causing people to commit crimes. Hello. They are increasing the crime. That's all right. Pretty dog. So they're doing stuff to increase crime. I got somebody applauding me, don't I? I love animals. Yeah, I got a YouTube show. We got 3 million people watching us in the past 7 months. Yeah. Evidently, people like bashing the government, people in the government. It's Charles Van Morgan. Yeah, look it up. So yeah, there's some nice people out here. But they say we need more of this apparatus, and they're putting people in jail erroneously and not putting people in jail that are actually harming society. We're going to talk about that. It'll blow your mind. Who's actually harming society? That's what crimes ought to be. Ought to be what's harmful to society. That's why they make laws, to keep people from doing something that harms society. And they're making the wrong laws for the wrong people. Because I'll tell you who is harming society. You want me to give it away? It's the people in government power. And we'll show you facts. Compared to one person's crime, compared to the stuff they do that's not even classified as a crime, but it damn well should be, and that's why they hate me so bad. You get me in any kind of public power, they better hope and work every day and night that I don't, because if I do, Bill Lee, I got a jail cell waiting for you. You can take a Bible with you. Maybe you'll have time to read the damn thing, where it talks about oppression of the poor that you're involved in every damn day. And, you know, they're executing somebody today. Whether they're guilty or not, I don't know. 10 o'clock, it's coming up. And actually, we are. Now, I'm not saying they ought to halt the execution or go forward for it. I don't know. I'm not in government power. If I were in government power, I would make damn sure that I wasn't executing innocent people, which is sometimes they do. So the policies have never significantly reduced crime. They have only increased the number of poor people in prison. So it's not fighting crime, it's putting poor people in prison, while leaving the people causing the most harm completely untouched. And what they're doing, I'm gonna point out some real things that's horrifically harmful to people. The failure is the feature, not a bug. They designed it that way. It's not a flaw in the system. That's the way they want it. That's the way they like it. Their conscience is seared. The real body count, the real criminals that should be criminals. Street crime kills. It does. Corporate decisions kill more. Corporate decisions kill more people than one street criminal. Only one gets called a crime, and that's your street criminal. The poor and impoverished that they have put in poverty by their giving away free money to the rich and taxing and exploiting the poor. And it's called corporate welfare, and allowing corporations to get by with whatever the hell they want to do and harming society. But they don't call that crime. But it is a huge major crime. And we're going to tell you some specific incidences that should blow your mind about what they're doing to you every day. But they don't tell you that, but I will. Hang on, subscribe. I'll tell you what the deal is. So, here's what they show you. The mugger, the carjacker, the drug dealer, here's what they hide. They show you that. Go to the news today, you'll find a drug dealer, a carjacker, somebody that they got jacked up there getting a criminal. Somebody dangerous to society, and some of them are. They got them, lock them up, throw away the damn key, take their money, build their duck blinds, fix their commodes, put a roof on their house, build their marriage places, remodel their old cars, put up their Halloween displays. I mean, I could go on and on. That's what they're doing with money that they seized off these criminals. I mean, it's really not funny. It's, you know, I mean, it's serious. It's just so alarming. They do it right in your damn face. And you say, well, they got caught. Did they? Is it over yet? 8 years after the fact, what happened there? Somebody lost power, didn't they? It's not about the crime, it's about somebody losing power. They've been out of power 8 years, lost the grip on that. We're gonna talk about that a little bit too. It's alarming what they're doing. Here's what they hide: between 200,000 and 400,000 Americans die every year from preventable bank robberies, no. Carjackings, no. Medical errors in your damn hospitals. Now, they don't want to talk about that. You know how much money is in surgeries, unnecessary surgeries? Get a damn second opinion. Tens of thousands more die from workplace hazards, chemical exposures, mine collapses, refinery explosions, unsafe conditions management knew about, culpability, and chose not to fix. This is science. Just like engineering, it is credible within a reasonable degree of certainty it's going on today. They're telling you the street criminal and completely overlooking this stuff, and rarely, if ever, does somebody ever go to jail for that. And the numbers of people damaged and injured are alarmingly more harmful than your average everyday criminal that they tell you to focus on. Shine the light on them. That's what I'm doing. Share, like, subscribe. Imagine a governor that goes into office thinking this way, realistically, with a clear head, unbought by the corporations that are causing a lot of this damage. All of them say they're not. Check out their campaign pages and look at the corporations they're involved in. Just one, Marsha Blackburn, gets money from tobacco companies. That ought to be alarming itself, and I know it's your decision to smoke, but do you really want your kids and your kids' kids doing that, and politicians getting in power over the tobacco market? And it's much worse than that. She's involved in a lot of getting donations from corporations that are some damn bad people, if you ask me. The law calls these accidents. The law calls a man who steals your wallet a criminal. The law calls a CEO who knowingly sends workers into deadly conditions a businessman. Mr. Haslam, he's a businessman. Ran his damn convenience stores for years and years and years without security, stop and robs, where people are killed on the job at about 300 a year lower, a whole lot more than police officers. Police officers get killed lower than convenience store clerks, but he's getting a lot of money off those cashiers. One gets shot, stabbed, murdered, 3 over here. He puts in another one. He's a businessman. I'm just saying, should have been some regulations about requiring security, and not just cameras. All cameras do is record their murder. To put a robber or a murderer in jail, that's good, but they kill 3. How many people have been killed at his convenience stores while he made a lot of money? And an unsafe work condition. Same decision, same knowledge, same result, different label. Because the labels are written by the people with the money. They're not written by me. They've got a label on me. I'm not taking the label. Don't take the label they put on you. Don't believe the lies they tell you. I'm telling you the truth. What they say, and we're talking about from a engineering perspective as it relates to sociology, a science. I'm not conspiracy theory. Like Alex Jones. Mass shooting that he talked about did happen. We must crack down on violent crime to protect the public. That's what they say. What the evidence shows. White-collar harm, unsafe workplaces, pollution, fraud, medical negligence kills and financially destroys more Americans every year than all street crime combined. So we're focusing on street crime. That's the wrong damn focus. The focus should be on corporate crime, businessman crime, not to shut down their business, to make them fly right and have a thriving business so that people can survive and they don't keep getting billions off bodies. Literally stepping over bodies to collect money. That's how wicked they are. They're proud of it. They believe their own medicine. They drink their own poison. They're not even good for themselves. I'm helping them. They cause more harm, scientifically, engineering, sociology, than street criminals do. But you look in the paper. They're street criminals every day. They control what you call crime. That's how they control you. They tell you what's criminal and what's not. And write laws on the books to protect them, keep them out of the system, and put you in it, even if you didn't do it. The system shows you a distorted picture. That distortion is by design. It's not an accident. They're doing this on purpose with forethought and malice, intentionality. These social scientists call it a carnival mirror. Makes you look different than you really are. That's what a carnival mirror does. These professors say the criminal justice system works exactly the same way. It magnifies the image of street crime until it looks like the only danger in your life. That's the only harm. Corporations are good. It shrinks corporate harm, workplace death, environmental destruction, and financial fraud that at one time, back in 2008, shut down the whole economy in the United States of America, and then they bailed them out. But they don't bail you out, but they did more harm. Jake Butcher, in his financial fraud of the bank, until a few years ago, people were still paying for that. Tax money, it was financially insured. So, financial fraud until they disappear from view. The distortion is not accidental, it is ideological. And I'm trying to reframe this to a realistic point of view. I didn't choose the fight, God sent me. Keep the public scared of the poor. Keep the public looking down. Never let them look up at the boardroom, at the businessman, at the man that's got a sign at a law school at one time, at a business classroom at the University of Tennessee. The mirror is the machine. The mirror is the machine's most powerful weapon, and most people never knew it's pointed at them. They're pointing it at people that aren't super rich, the mass populace of Tennesseans. They're pointing that mirror to you, deflecting it off of them. People in government power are committing financial crimes, and they're not crimes because they're not calling crime, but they're taking money, have their own neighborhoods bought, taking tax money that belongs to you, defrauding the system where you have to work harder and do more. And they do less and lie more. What they say, the criminal justice system exists to protect everyone equally from the most dangerous threats. And that's just not true. What the evidence shows. The system selectively defines danger. It focuses on one-on-one interpersonal violence while systematically ignoring industrial disasters. We had one just the other day. The governor that benefited from the corporation went right to the scene right after it happened to run interference, to distort the picture, because he benefited from that company and knew. And we'll talk about that. Environmental poisoning and financial crimes that cause far greater harm to far more people. They don't want to talk about that, but I will. Thank you very much to over 3 million people that they don't like. They have to put up with calling names. That hurts me very bad. No, it doesn't. The mirror is a lie. They build it that way, and I'm going to break the damn mirror. Present you a realistic picture from a scientific point of view. They can call me a nut all they want to. Say I'm lying, I'm mad and angry, whatever, distort the picture. I'm a well-educated, life-lived, veteran of law enforcement, inside man that's been beat up, cut pretty bad for doing right while I was in the system, that's very well educated from their damn universities with an advanced level of education that they've said that I know stuff about sociology, and I'm about to blast them off the planet symbolically like they did 16 people in Bucksnort, Tennessee. and Bill Lee went to run interference. Well, I'm going to break that interference. The mirror is the lie, and I'm breaking it. The transmission belt, symbolically, from arrest to prison, every stage filters out the rich and feeds in the poor. From day one, it's focused on you. And even if it so happens they get caught up in the net that's made for the poor, and they do sometimes, they can't get out of it. It's an imperfect world, an imperfect system that allows the guilty to be caught sometimes that they hate it. It was made for you. You didn't do a damn thing. That doesn't matter. You're going for the ride, and it was justified. That's what they say. They're saying that from government offices under oath. That's what the colonel said. I'm not just making up conspiracies. I'm not Alex Jones. I'm telling you what he said. Listen to him. Who gets arrested? Who gets charged? Who gets a public defender versus a high-dollar lawyer that knows the judge that contributed to his political campaign? Who gets convicted? Who gets the long sentence? And at every stage, the machine filters out the wealthy, and it processes the poor. They got all kinds of mechanisms. If they get caught in this net, and several of them have, fortunately, unfortunately, however you see it, at the Knox County Sheriff's Office, where 11 former, one current deputy sheriff was charged with stealing drug fund confiscated money. They're stealing money from people running a drug business. At the Sheriff's Department, your Sheriff's Department, paid them money to do this to you and the drug dealers. And so they got caught in the net after they're out of power. We'll see if they do a day in jail. 2 of them running for sheriff, 1 of them the previous sheriff, and 1 that got elected. Now, I don't know about him, but I will say this. He worked in the Sheriff's Department while that was going on. Now, maybe he didn't know, I don't know. But he was at the Sheriff's Department, a high conflicting, powerful position when this was going on. He's not been indicted, not been accused of any crime. Maybe that's a statement in his favor that he worked there, high conflicting position, and did not take part. But did he know and not report it? I don't know. I'd like to ask him that question. And I don't know. Somebody should ask him. The other thing is, they rig elections. 2 of the people that were charged, indicted by the grand jury for stealing drug money were running for sheriff. And there were 4 running. 1 of them worked at the Sheriff's Department but didn't get indicted. 1 of them was an outsider, worked for the Sheriff's Department back years and years ago, I think in the 90s, and then did a career in the FBI. So he was an outside person, not associated with the Sheriff's Department. He literally ran on the fact, I heard him say, and I like this, that he was outside when he just stopped the good old boy system. They sure as hell did, didn't they? They should have, but he wasn't associated, had no way of knowing, and was even running against that good old boy system. And he got about I think about 6,000 votes. The second candidate was inside man. He's been charged. He got about 1,300 votes. The winner got about 19,000 votes. So he was running against 2 other people that have been indicted. And my point is this. They didn't come out with the indictment until after the election was over, even though it was 8 years ago that this took place. Why did they hold the indictment until after the election was over? The public should have known that they were suspected and that a grand jury had found them possibly guilty of committing theft. Then the outside man would have got more votes from the 2 other candidates. So they literally rigged an election, and they'll say they didn't want to be political, but that's being political when you have known charges, an investigation completed 8 years old, and you withhold evidence from the public and keep an outside person that could have had nothing to do with it, keep their vote count down. The 3rd leading person in the race might have won it because the 2nd person was charged with with a crime. So they withheld and rigged an election that way. I probably would have voted for the outside person had I known. But the prosecutor's office kept that from us. Why? I think they rigged an election. So, this is not one corrupt officer or one bad judge. The bias operates simultaneously at every stage. That's not a flaw in the system. Get this, that is the system. It's not just little mistakes, it's a perpetrated plan. So what they say, everyone is equal before the law, justice is blind. That's what they say. You know, you see the justice with the blind over their eyes. You believe that? Most people don't. They say this is controversial. Everybody knows justice is not blind. Well, it should be. That should be the goal. It's not even close. It picks on the mass populace of Tennesseans and gives the criminals that cause mass fatalities a free damn ride. They even make sure come run interference. What the evidence shows, the bias operates at every stage simultaneously, from what gets defined as a crime to who gets arrested, to who gets charged, to who gets convicted, to how long they serve. All of it is systematically targets the poor. Just in this case involving the sheriff's department, that crime took place between 2010 and 2018. It's 2026. They claim they're innocent till proven guilty, over $300,000. There's been a duck blind sitting out there paid for by stolen drug fund money, allegedly in the indictment, for probably 10 years. They knew it was there. And things wide out in the open. The cars run around, they've remodeled, and they wait 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 8 years? You think if you'd have stole $300,000, been in a conspiracy to steal $300,000, allegedly innocent till proven guilty? I guess they got a lot of physical evidence. I'd like to see the duck blind. If anybody knows, put it on my confidential informant thing on my YouTube page. I'd like to find that. But if you'd have been in a conspiracy and stole $300,000, it would take them 8 years to indict you before a grand jury. And then if you're running for public office, they would withhold it until after the election to bring it out. I mean, you can see the system working for them, by them already. They got drug into the system. There's all kinds of off-ramps for them. You and me, $300,000, we're going under the damn jail, probably never see the light of day, especially if you steal a dime from one of them damn people. They're greedy as hell. If you know of government corruption, government crime, you can send me anonymously on my survey information that if I think is pertinent, I'll look into. I'd appreciate it if you do. It's on the YouTube page. What the evidence shows, the bias operates at every stage simultaneously. From what gets defined as a crime to who gets arrested, to who gets charged, to who gets convicted, to how long they serve, all of it's symptomatic. It targets the poor. The system does not have bias. I said it, the system does not have bias. The system is the bias. It's a crooked system. So, vote to transform this mass public corruption. You're not going to get any better with people in the system. They're part of it to a certain extent. The recycling plant. Prisons do not rehabilitate. They are engineered to recycle. Prison brutalizes people, exposes them to violence. It cuts them off from family and from community. It gives them zero marketable skills. It stamps them with a record that follows them for life. Employers will not hire them. Landlords will not rent to them. Then the system releases them with nothing into the same conditions that produced the original crime, and acts shocked when they come back to the prison. The majority of released inmates are rearrested within 3 years. That is not a failure of rehabilitation. They like it. Core civic, that's called repeat business. Man in the cell, money. That will always be paid. It's tax money. The state's not going under. They'll print more money. This is repeat business. The people who profit from incarceration have a financial interest in making sure rehabilitation never works. But they tell you it does. The governor was involved in rehabilitation. He alleges, I think he needs to be rehabilitated, in my opinion, because he doesn't get it. But I'm going to give it to him, whether he wants to take it or not. Politically, he's the one that stuck his ugly head up and said that he was a Christian. Christian is upholding the rights of the poor and the oppressed, doing good, not kissing the rich's hind end, kissing the ring, worshiping them. What they say, incarceration protects the public and gives offenders the chance to reflect and reform. What the evidence shows, prisons function as schools for crime, deepening criminal ties, eliminating legitimate opportunity, and releasing more damaged, more dangerous people than went in. That's what prisons do. Here's what they say. Rehabilitation would bankrupt their donors. That's why it will never come for them. That's not what they say, that's a fact. Rehabilitation of convicts, after they went out so they wouldn't come back, would bankrupt Core Civic. They don't want rehabilitation. They want repeat business. The permanent excuse, the heads they win, tails you lose. Crime is their permanent power source. Crime goes down, they take credit, demanding more funding. Crime goes up, they use it to demand more police, more prisons, more power. They cannot lose that argument because they control the data and define the purpose. They control the messaging. Arrest anybody else that says to the contrary from an educated point of view perspective from their own damn universities, from their own damn books they teach in their schools. Don't profess it publicly and run for public office to try to change it. The professors call it heads. I win, tails, you lose. That's what they say in the book. The goal was never to fix crime. The goal was always to stay in power. Crime is the gift that keeps on giving. They love it. And as long as the conditions that create it stay in place, and the people in power make sure those conditions stay in place. What they say, when crime drops, our tough policies worked. When crime rises, we must get tougher. And we're going to show you some evidence of that, some very astonishing, horrific things. Like, share, and contribute. Real facts. Buck Snort's one of them. When crime drops, our tough policies work. When crime rises, we got tougher. What the evidence shows. The circle of logic is defined to be unfail-safable. The system defines its own success on its own terms and can never be held accountable no matter what the outcome shows. That's how they control the messaging, people in public power. They claim credit for the wins. They use their losses to grab more power every single time. Until you get rid of the Democrats and Republicans, you're always going to have the same damn outcome. They're going to remain in power. The people in power get a little bit upper seat. The Democrats get a little bit upper seat when they win the governor's race. Or when they lose, they're still in power, they get a little lower seat, or the Republicans get a little higher seat. And the system stays the same. It's a racket that is meant to keep you under subjection, in jail, and afraid of them. The poverty engine. That's why we got poverty. They're not concerned about the high cost of gas and the high cost of food right now. They literally like it. They do. It serves a function. Sociology, a science like engineering, a well-respected train of thought nobody talks about. That's truth. I know, I've lived it. Got stars for it, I'll never forget it. God chose the fight, and they chose the fight. God put me in it, and I'm here. They chose to keep poverty. Poverty produces crime that they need. Now, these professors make a direct statement. Crime is a social choice. The amount of violence in society is not fixed by human nature. It's shaped by political decisions. When government refuses to address poverty, gut education, eliminate the safety net, and ignore unemployment, they are manufacturing the crime that will follow. I'm not saying people aren't responsible, but when they are put in these circumstances, then a certain amount of crime will follow that the people in power won't. And the people making the decisions know exactly what they're doing. That's the reason why they make the policy decisions that are so horrific that they make. Poverty is not a side effect of bad policy. It is the intended product of deliberate policy. That's what they want. That's what they get. That's what they paid for. Actually, you paid them to do that to you. It's the intended product of deliberate policy. Because a poor, scared, divided population does not organize, does not vote, does not threaten the machine. We need to stop worrying about the horrific crime rate and the poverty rate and worry about getting in office where we can do something about these things. What the evidence shows, this is what they say, and then what the evidence shows. Crime is a matter of personal responsibility and individual moral failure. Yeah, it's a moral failure of theirs. What the evidence shows, individual choices are made within a social context, shaped by poverty, unemployment, and concentrated disadvantage. That it has an effect. The system ignores that context on purpose because acknowledging it would require fixing it. Poverty is not an excuse for crime. It is the cause they choose to keep. They deliberately, on purpose, do a lot of things to hinder and hamper the mass populace of Tennesseans by their policies on purpose to remain in power. That's what they do. And we'll show you evidence of that. Give people longer prison sentences. They get money out of prisons. They harm more people than one street criminal does. So here we're going to talk about Tennessee names, receipts, and cover-ups. Get down to facts. See if it jives with what I just told you. It does. A new way of thinking about things, a way of thinking the truth that nobody will tell you. I'm here to tell you because of what happens to you. You get mocked. You get branded a liberal. I'm not a liberal. They're the liberals. They're the ones that want free money. They're the ones who want free government power without putting forth policies that protect what the Bible says. The poor and the needy and the sick and the afflicted and the oppressed. They're the oppressors. So the Tennessee judiciary giving legal cover to power since forever. Now this is a horrific bad thing goes on. Here's how the machine stays standing. It is not enough to have corrupt politicians and compliant law enforcement. You need the courts to stamp it legitimate. When a judge rules, people assume it must be right. The courts say it, so it must be true. This is the most powerful lie in the system. Stamped by a judge, it's legitimate. I know for a fact that's a damn dirty lie. If a judge stamps it, it may be true. It's a possibility. And there's also the possibility that the judge is bought off. He's a corrupt, dirty liar, a squealing, nasty pig that is so very wrong and harmful to society. Just because a judge stamps something true doesn't mean it's true. Look beyond that. There's dirty judges all across the state of Tennessee. They literally try to sanction me for saying that. So what I do, I'll say it again. Let freedom ring. Judges are dirty. I don't need to straighten up what I'm saying. I need to keep telling the truth. They need to straighten up to where I won't be able to say that because it's not true. But it is true, and I will say it. I'm not backing down. There's nowhere for us to go. So people assume it must be true. Courts don't operate in a vacuum. They are staffed by people appointed by the powerful. Bill Lee appointed all these Supreme Court justices, I think 4 or 5 of them. You think they're going to rule in my favor? Trying to get my law license? How dare I? I'm not in their upper echelon of the food chain. I'm not their blood. Never get a law license, although I work for it. I won't get what I work for in a Tennessee courtroom. It won't happen. They're bought and paid for. And you won't either, which is what I'm fighting for. And you won't get me stand beside you in a courtroom representing you before a judge fighting for your rights. And that's what they don't want. So you're being damaged too. When the Tennessee judiciary rules, ask yourself, who put the judge there, who benefits from that ruling, who selected the judge for that hearing in the first place? In my individual case, they had a judge that adjudicated the law in Tennessee. Yes, they do have some. He was removed from the case. The one on the list, randomly selected, they figured out that he was an honest judge. They removed him and handpicked a dirty judge, Judge Randall LaFavor, that lied in his ruling, put facts in there that weren't. They selected damn judges. In my own case, the judge originally on the docket for my administrative law hearing was removed and replaced with a hand-picked substitute. That's not justice, that's choreography. And the same justices who ruled against my THP termination appeal later ruled against my law license, while one of them was committing a crime of dishonesty. They never did a day in jail. The safety net got them accidentally, but they got an off-ramp. They have their law license now, and they still claim I'm not honest. And the reason they don't like me is because I am honest, and they're not. And they're gonna put you in jail. I implore you, vote. This is not coincidence, that's architecture. That's the way they design it. They got it designed that way for them every time. They win the wrong. What they say, the courts are independent. The rule of law protects everyone equally. Do you believe that? I don't. I know that's not true. I know it's not true. I've experienced it. That's why God allowed me to go through this, so I can tell you it wasn't true for me then. It's not true for me now. It wasn't true for you in the past. It's not true for you now, and it won't be true for you in the future. You won't get justice in the state of Tennessee unless you vote these people out of power. What the evidence shows. Here's what they say. Courts are independent. The rule of law protects everyone equally. Here's the evidence. Tennessee courts have a documented power of positioning judges favorable to government power, removing incompetent judges from dockets and providing legal legitimacy to outcomes that were decided before the damn hearing ever took place. You're wasting your voice if they even let you speak. They already know what the ruling is. They've been paid by somebody for it, in effect. They don't like me saying that. Stop doing it if they don't want me to say it. I'm just speaking the truth. They hate that. I can't even speak at a public church where they invited me to speak. Not even cussing, talking about how the judiciary is harming the poor and the needy, which is in the gospel. They told me to shut up. You can look at the video, I'm telling you. They don't like the truth. It's the truth. I've got a Master of Arts Science, same as engineering to a certain extent, in sociology. Courts are rigged. They're not constitutional courts. They're rich people, powerful people, maintain whatever they want in office, coming to get you courts. Very dangerous to you, more dangerous than street criminals. You should focus on the crime in the judiciary and in the government. That's what will set you free. That's what I'm trying to tell people. If you don't listen, then you get what you ask for, and we have gotten what we've asked for. The courts do not find the truth. They certify what power has already decided. It's just a show. We got to have this hearing so we can act like we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, and then they'll damn decide what they already got, who they're already paying back, decide it in the hallway before you even get down to the courthouse. And if you start stepping on toes too much, getting the truth out where people might be able to hear it, they'll tell you to shut up, won't even let you finish your damn sentence. Has happened to me in this Knox County courtroom. If you don't believe me, you should go sit in the courtroom, peacefully quiet, Knox County or wherever you're at, and just listen to what goes on in these courts. Somebody told me the other day some horrific things that went on in the court that they sat there and watched. Go and listen, monitor them. Come back and tell me. It's horrible. It's unconstitutional. It tramples on the soldiers' blood that fought to protect the Constitution. And these sitting judges violate that every day. Protect it and they run right over it. They don't care about your constitutional rights. They care about maintaining power. Bucksnort, Tennessee. The AES body count. October 10th, 2025, the AES munitions plant exploded in McEwen near Buckshot, Tennessee. 16 workers killed. So I have told you, frankly, in explicit, inflammatory terms, that people in power are more dangerous than a street criminal. And now I'm going to back it up with facts and evidence. Now, they won't put it together like me. I will. The AES ammunition plant killed 16 workers. The official word, crime? No, they won't call what they do crime. An accident. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't an accident at all. There were plenty of signs and there was culpability. Same thing as a crime. Same thing as a murder. Same thing as an accidental murder. Same damn thing. You can argue about the culpability, but you can't argue that 16 people got blown off the planet and no one does a day in jail over that. That nobody knew, it was just an accident. No, it wasn't an accident. It was should have been criminal conduct. And Bill Lee benefited from AES. He got money from the people that own the company for his campaign that they're not giving me. And I would take it anyway. I'm not stepping over bodies to get to the top. I'm praying and asking the Lord and asking you all to fund the campaign, fund the message. And then immediately after it happened, he goes and runs interference for his buddies. He had him on stage before that accident happened, praising him and the company, how many jobs it would bring. And knowing that the very man that owned that company had previously a felony record for selling defective munitions to the military, putting our military involved. He knew, he didn't care, it was about the money. Waves that Christian banner. Management knew the conditions. Management chose cost over safety. 16 people died. Now just think about this. If a poor man walked into a building and killed 16 people, he'd never see daylight again, and you see that all the time. They would call it a massacre. They would call it terrorism. But when management decisions kill 16 workers, it's a tragic accident. It's investigated, it's grieved, the flags fly, the statements are released, and the campaign checks keep coming, and the payback in company contracts from the government or what maintained that company, play to pay, pay to play. They want to blow us off the map at the ballot box. They literally blew 16 workers off the map in Bucksnot, Tennessee. Bill Lee ran interference. Went there just a few hours after the incident. 16 people killed. Never mentioned anything about any criminal culpability. And we're going to blow them off the map symbolically, hopefully at the voting booth, enough to make a difference. November 3rd, 2026. The recip. John and Kimberly Sonday, connected to AES, donated $16,600 to Bill Lee's across 2 election cycles at the near maximum allowable amounts. The owners of that reckless company that killed 16 people at work, their workers died. Lee took the money. Nobody is in handcuffs. That's the carnival mirror. That's the transmission belt. That's Tennessee. If you knew and did nothing, you are not negligent. You are culpable. Now just listen to this. I know from some real scars how crooked they are, how dangerous and damaging they are. Trooper John Pettigo, I used to work with him. He worked when I worked. Didn't work with him. Didn't like him, didn't do his job. And Amanda Cowan, Keown. God rest her soul. A trooper violated policy. A 16-year-old girl died. The machine gave him an award. He was on the right side of people in power. I wasn't. I was on the right side of the mass population, keeping the fatality rate down. If I'd have been management at Bucksnort, that wouldn't have happened. God, I've been on the road for the past 13 years. Your friends and family that are dead now, because the high fatality rate, wouldn't be dead. Amelia Cohen was 16 years old. She was a student at William Blount High School. She was driving her Ford Taurus southbound on US Highway 411 in Blount County. She had done nothing wrong driving down the road. This is much more serious than what you hear on the news about what's come out. The safety net's got them. They're arresting innocent people. This is horrific. Trooper John Pettigo had clocked John Perkins speeding 73 in a 55 on a divided highway that's separated, that's less dangerous than the road that I clocked Mr. Anito on, that's not a divided highway. And Mr. Anito was doing 79 in a 40. And I turned on all emergency equipment. As the policy says, when you're in pursuit of a violator or suspected violator of the law, you turn on all your emergency equipment. You do not turn around on them, because a maneuver to turn around on them is in pursuit. You're going after them. So you can tell, look at the video with me. I turn on the equipment because you're letting everybody else know there's a problem going on here. There's a problem. Somebody's speeding a high rate of speed, and you warn them. They look and they don't hit you, and they watch the car going down the road. It lets everybody be aware. That's what warning is. It's audio and visual warning. Let the public know, not just the person you're trying to stop. It lets everybody else know there's a problem, a bad thing going on here. Somebody going at a high rate of speed. Don't hit them or me. Don't let them hit you. Look at the video. I comply by the policy. John Pettigo clocked the car, did not turn on his emergency equipment, turned around on them. So he's in pursuit because he's going after them. Made a maneuver to go after them. A pursuit maneuver, supposed to turn on his audio and visual warning. Now this is serious, it's important, because they have a looking glass. They portray it differently. And I've been on the road, I'll tell you how it really was. He violated policy by not turning on his emergency equipment. He made a maneuver. Pettigo turned his vehicle around and maneuvered toward the speeding car without activating his emergency lights or siren. No audio warning, no visual warning. Perkins crested the hill, Pettigo crested the hill, and car Perkins was driving in, Pettigo in pursuit of him behind him, was going the opposite direction before. He's in pursuit of him without any emergency equipment on. The car he was in pursuit of crossed the WO lines and hit that 16-year-old girl. Killed Perkins and killed that 16-year-old girl. Here's the thing they don't tell you. Here's the thing they don't tell you. Had he had his emergency equipment on like the policy says, that young lady, now I don't know, she had no warning that a trooper was in pursuit. Had she heard a siren, seen lights, blue lights, flashing, as per the law, she might have seen that car coming in her lane and had time to react. Because Trooper Pettigo didn't obey the law, she had no time to react. She was slammed into because of trooper violating policy. Now, in the pursuit that I was in, turned on equipment, followed the policy. They didn't even say follow the policy. Now the car got ahead of me because I was driving safely, slowed down for a red light so I wouldn't hit innocent people. Trooper Pettigo was driving dangerously without any emergency equipment on in pursuit of a car. Yeah, I know he was in pursuit. He was going one way. The car came down the road. He clocked him and he turned around and went after the car. That's a pursuit, legally. Didn't have his emergency equipment on, didn't give that lady any warning. Part responsibility, culpable in her death. I wonder how well he sleeps at night. When one person is fleeing from police and they end up killing themselves with the police officer, blue lights and siren, that happens, I hate to say it, but routinely all the time. What doesn't happen as often is when a police officer is in pursuit and hits somebody, and the person hits somebody else and kills them, or the police car hits somebody else. That is tragic. Now, somebody going off the road and killing themselves in a pursuit when the trooper's acting responsibly happens all the time. The major, the colonel of the highway patrol said that in deposition, swore under oath, that he came down to the scene of the pursuit that I was involved in, that they said I mishandled, that I did not. That's a lie. Came down to the pursuit because of the magnitude of the pursuit. You read in the paper, those kind of pursuits happen all the time. It wasn't a magnitude pursuit. That was in November. The very next August, Pettigo was involved in pursuit of huge magnitude. An innocent person dead. 2 people in that incident. The colonel didn't come down to that scene. He came down to the scene of my accident, the same thing that they'll do to you. Come to your life while you're doing right and put you in jail. There's an execution going on today. Is it justified? I don't know. So he didn't come down to that incident. So he lied under oath. He didn't come down to my incident because of the magnitude of the incident. He came down to the incident to do a hit job on me. A hit job trying to get me killed and even interfering with my little small children. He's a creep. And you know, God works in mysterious ways. He died in his 60s, relatively young life. Now, I didn't kill him. God decided to take him off the planet. You know, God works in mysterious ways. And I'm not just saying, I'm telling you, I prayed about that man. That's pretty horrific and crooked to try to get me killed while I'm risking my life for the public and then lie about it under oath, say the magnitude of the incident. That wasn't a magnitude incident. Magnitude incident's John Pettigo, where he didn't use emergency equipment. He never came down there, so he's lying. So he didn't activate his emergency equipment or siren, no warning, no visual warning. Perkins crested the hill, Pettigo crested the hill. The crash happened, and Emmanuel Cohen, the innocent person, was dead. Had no warning from Pettigo, didn't have his emergency equipment on. Had Pettigo activated his lights and siren, as state law and THP policy, pursuit policy required, Amelia may have had warning, she may have had a chance, she was given none. Now that's not even the end of it. Let me tell you how they frame this. The little looking glass mirror that distorts things. I'm telling you how they really are, how I really know. I'm a very smart person, JD, passed the bar twice, fighting them even in the face of adversity. I don't quit. And have a Master of Arts in Sociology. I'm gonna break their little mirroring glass the way they're trying to picture this. That's what happened. Pettigo played a part in her death by not following the law. And here's the real deal. So subscribe to the channel if you're real listening. Here's the part they do to you. The part I said earlier. They keep making the penalty for us more severe. So when people are doing things or wanted, they run harder, cause more casualties. If they thought the system was fair, they wouldn't be running as much. That's just the sociological effect of continuing to lock people away and throwing away the key. They're going to try to get out of that. If they know they'd be treated reasonably, with decency and humanely and fairly in a court of law, they might not run and kill people. He was running from Pedigo because he was on probation, probably driving to work without his license, knowing that if Pedigo stopped him, they'd probably go to jail for a long time. Whereas if the laws are reasonable, he might have just had to go see his probation officer another time or two. But they keep making things stricter. And here's what the worst part of this, one of the worst parts. The worst part, she died. God rest her soul, God bless her family, help them. Amelia's family was devastated. And let me tell you what they did. They were lied to by the Highway Patrol. Highway Patrol didn't mention nothing about the policy that Trooper Pedigo violated. They later gave Trooper Pedigo a life-saving award. He's a good person. We'll give him an award. They didn't give me an award for pulling somebody out of a burning car when it was possible. That they had a video of, they have that, because they did a hit job on me. They'll do a hit job on you. So, here's the criminal justice system. Now here's what they did. They lobbied in good faith the family of Amelia, and they passed Amelia's law, believing the system would honor their daughter by fixing the problem. Only made it worse, if you ask me. Making penalties more severe. That's the reason why he ran in the first place. They didn't put a focus on the government action, inaction, to the level of criminal. The machine took their grief and used it to create longer sentences for drug and alcohol offenders. So they passed a law to make other offenders, like the one that crossed the yellow line, go to jail longer. So they'll run harder, maybe hit you the next time. Didn't look at what the trooper did wrong. Failed to warn the lady. The machine took their grief and used it to create longer sentences for drug and alcohol offenders. Put people in jail longer. That feeds core civic. That feeds the transmission belt. The actual policy violation, the trooper who gave their daughter no warning was never examined. I'm examining, I'm telling you. I know what happened. I've been a trooper. I've been in those situations. I know from working with him that he went in pursuit a lot without turning on his emergency equipment. Because if you don't do that, you don't have to do a report. And he got admonished one time because he was in pursuit for several minutes and saying he was trying to catch up to somebody when the supervisor said, no, that's a pursuit. We need to do a pursuit packet and a pursuit report. And he didn't even get in trouble, and he's back at his same thing, and somebody got killed because he didn't do his job the way it's supposed to. But he's a hero because they gave him an award to distort the picture. The trooper gave their daughter no warning, was never examined. Her family was likely never told the full story. They were used to benefit people in power. Just like the family of Anita was used by Lion Lil Russell and crooked, drunk, stingy Major Stacy Heatherly. Just like the family was misled by them. Before an investigation ever even took place, they were doing a hit job on me. That was already decided. That was just the reason. Lion Lil Russell went and knocked on that man's door that his son was dead while he was going to be in distraught, and used that situation to lie on a trooper and say, I did something wrong, without no investigation, setting up a platform to try to destroy me and endanger my children. That's where you ain't getting away with this, Lil Russell. This ain't going away. I'm not doing anything violent to you. You're violent towards me. I'd advise you keep your damn hands off me, write out your warrant, turn yourself into the jailhouse. I'm in pursuit of you, just like I was other people. It doesn't work out very well, symbolically. I'm just saying, God's on my side, you dirty liar. And I'm telling the truth to the public. That's how they do things. They're after you. The Tennessee Highway Patrol gave Trooper Pettigo a life-saving award in a subsequent incident. Oh, he's a hero. No, he's not. He ought to be in jail for his actions. Colonel Trott personally came to the scene of my illegal pursuit where one person died. A person committed a felony and fleeing and called it a magnitude incident, justifying his personal presence. He came to do a hit job. He did not show up for the scene where Trooper Pettigo violated policy and an innocent teenager died with no warning. That is who decides what is magnitude incident in Tennessee. They decide with their little distorted mirror. Let's bust the hell out of it. Look at things realistically from science. That is the machine protecting its own. Amelia Cowan deserved better. Her family deserves better. Trooper Pettigo ought to suffer consequences of his illegal and unlawful acts. The family deserved the truth. The machine used their grief and rewarded the trooper. That is Tennessee. So they turned a pursuit where a trooper acted stellar, risked my life, and a pursuit where a trooper killed an innocent third party by not following the law and turned him into a hero. They do whatever the hell they want to do and call it right. And the hanging a Christian banner. The sober DUI scandal, the arrest sober drivers. Colonel Perry says 0 errors. The dismissal says otherwise. The Tennessee Highway Patrol has been arresting sober drivers and charging with DUIs. Tennessee's the only state in the country that publishes official annual data on this. When the document court dismissed became a public record, Colonel Matt Perry conducted a colonel review and announced 0 invalid arrests. 0. The pigs investigated themselves. The pigs found themselves innocent. That is not accountability. That's the carnival mirror turned inward. That's heads I win, tails you lose in a Tennessee uniform. And the courts, the same courts that gave the machine its legitimacy, processes these cases and calls it justice. What they say, our internal review found no invalid arrest. That's what he said. Look up the interview. The system is working as it should. What the evidence shows. Documented court dismissals contradict the internal review. The system uses statistics. It controls to validate itself. The courts lie. I'll say it again slower. The Tennessee judiciary lies a lot. Don't believe them verbatim. That's exactly what the book describes, and exactly what the Occupational Safety and Health Administration record-keeping changes of 2002 did at the federal level. Change the standard, improve the numbers, declare victory. They're improving safety. The pigs investigated themselves and found themselves innocent every time. Until they're out of power, 8 years after the fact. And then there's all kinds of off-ramps for the people in the Knox County net that caught a bunch of them. J.J. Jones and Randy Nichols. Now listen to this. This is important stuff here. This stuff I know about. Can't lie to me, I've seen it. Not through a mirror, with my own 4 eyes, looking straight ahead. Got scars from it. Hurts. Never forget it. God teaching me a lesson to help the public. The sheriff hired the prosecutor. J.J. Jones hired the prosecutor. in Knox County. The one that guarded him, supposed to prosecute him if he committed crimes. He later went on to hire the prosecutor. He hired the Knox County prosecutor, Randy Nichols. So the sheriff hired the prosecutor, one big fat pig eating everything we've got. Randy Nichols served as Knox County District Attorney for 22 years, from 1992 to 2014. So he was a prosecutor while they were committing those crimes, alleged crimes. So he's the prosecutor over them. They are allegedly stealing money, duck blinds, remodeling cars on company time, and they are doing all kinds of stuff with criminals' money and taking it illegitimately. And Randy Nichols, the prosecutor, they were doing it in 2014. They started in 2010, allegedly. Evidence all over the place, duck blinds. Their houses remodeled, new roofs put on, Halloween decorations at their houses, weddings paid for, all kinds of evidence everywhere. Randy Nichols never charges them because he knows that he's gonna get a job probably after he retires from sucking all your money at the prosecutor's office, allowing rapes to go on that he probably knew about with a crooked judge that he let do that so he could get rulings out of him in his favor every time. So Randy Nichols served as Knox County District Attorney for 22 years, from 1992 to 2014. For 22 years, he decided who got charged and who did not in Knox County. He decided which cases the state would pursue and which ones it would let go. He sat at the top of the prosecution machine while they were committing these crimes out in the open, allegedly. When Nichols left the DA's office, Knox County Sheriff J.J. Jones hired him as special counsel to the Sheriff's Department. So the one that's indicted hired the man that could have indicted him years ago when he was committing the crimes. Isn't that amazing? Did he indict him? Hell no, he's going to get a job off of him, ain't he? Going to get a job off of him later on down the road. He's got a job waiting for him. And let's show you Mr. Randy Nichols. If I got a picture of him here, he's actually working for the Sheriff's Department to this day. He's a damn Knox County Sheriff's Department deputy sheriff working in their legal department. So you see how that works out. That's probably why, most likely, he didn't charge him with a crime, because he's gonna, J.J. Jones, he's not gonna charge J.J. Jones. J.J. Jones gave him a job after he retired from the Sheriff's Department. So of course he's not going to charge him with a crime. He decided who got charged and who didn't in Knox County. He decided which cases the state would pursue and which ones it would let go. He sat at the top of the prosecutor's machine. Mr. J.J. Jones hired the prosecutor. When Nichols left the DA's office, Knox County Sheriff J.J. Jones hired him as special counsel to the sheriff's office. The man who ran prosecution that could have prosecuted the sheriff is now on the sheriff's payroll, who did not charge the sheriff years ago when the crimes were going on. So the same sheriff whose deputies' cases he handled for 2 decades now signs his checks. This is not public service. This is the revolving door. This is the trough. Law enforcement prosecution, supposed to be independent, checks on each other, now sharing the same feeding bowl. When the sheriff needs something handled, the prosecutor owes him a career. What do you think happens to accountability? The pattern. This is the machine rewarding its own. Loyalty for protection. Protection for the power. The professors call it systematic. I call it one big fat pig eating another, eating everything the people of Knox County have to give. That's what it is. It's public corruption at its worst. Now that's how they've got the system set up. That's how they've got their crooked system set up. In their favor. All the time, every time. Core Civic in the prison profit machine. Core Civic gets paid per prisoner. Safe communities would put them out of business. Core Civic runs private prisons in Tennessee on government contracts. The business model is simple. More prisoners equals more revenue. Every dollar Tennessee sends Core Civic is a dollar taken from poor communities and handed to corporation with a financial interest in keeping incarcerates high. So they want more people in poverty committing crimes locked up. They allow poverty, promote it with their policies to promote crime, creates that environment, and they want crime by you. They call it that way anyway. Whether you're committing it or not is another thing. In order to have more people locked up that you pay for. Every dollar Tennessee sends Core Civic is a dollar taken from poor communities and handed to a corporation with a financial interest in keeping incarceration rates high. Why would Core Civic want rehabilitation to work? Why would they want to rehabilitate people? Why would they want that to work? Why would they want poverty addressed? Why would they want the transmission belt to slow down? Their entire business model depends on the machine producing a steady supply of poor people with no alternatives and no advocates. They want this. It's built for this. It's working the way they want it to. It's not broke. It's very effective. Core Civic Political Action Committee has donated to Bill Lee, Cameron Sexton, and Randy McNally. The pigs protect the pigs. They're just protecting each other, feeding their machine. Then they give Core Civic more money because they got more people in jail, erroneously at times. And then Core Civic gives them campaign money to run campaigns to get their message out. So help me get this message out against them. Core Civic's not funding me. If I were in power, I would close down Core Civic. Core Civic's PAC has donated to Bill Lee, Cameron Sexton, and Randy McNally. The pigs protect the pigs. The machine funds the politicians who keep the machine running. The politicians keep the machine running, so the machine keeps funding them. You are not a citizen in that equation. You are raw material for them to grab up, throw in jail for sometimes no legitimate reason. Their looking glass says you are. Distorted picture. HB 1971, they passed a law to stop you from challenging their laws. HB 1971, Tennessee Code annotated section 13121 significantly limits citizens' ability to challenge unconstitutional statutes in court. They can make all these unconstitutional laws and lock you up for them. And you can't even challenge it anymore. Significantly limits your ability to challenge that. They passed a law designed to make it harder to fight back against unconstitutional laws. That's not public safety, that's a machine locking the barn door. That is the pigs pulling up the ladder after they climbed up it. When the people in power are threatened by citizens using the law against them, they change the law. They eliminate the mechanism. They shut down the avenue. That's what they're doing to you right now in Tennessee. They literally They literally sanction me for filing a legitimate lawsuit about them. I know they do it. My case, Morgan versus members of the Board of Law Examiners, case number 326 CV 00020, Eastern District of Tennessee. I'm not promising I will win. I'm telling you I filed a suit. I survived the first motion to dismiss, and I won a motion to amend my complaint. I'm fighting them legitimately when they fight dirty. This is 2 wins already, and it's a win every day. I make them answer for what they did to me and what they're doing to you by not allowing you to have a licensed attorney that will fight for you and defend you in their courts. They locked the barn door. My federal case is still moving. They cannot lock that one, haven't yet. It's a win just to file it and attack the system. Advanced Financial and Cameron Sexton, they trapped the door, they trapped the poor in debt. The Speaker of the House takes their money. Advanced Financial operates high interest lending in Tennessee. That kind of debt cycle traps the poor families and keeps them poor for years. That's not a street crime, that's a business model. The law calls it regulated, not prosecuted. So Cameron Sexton gets money from Advanced Financial that has gambling tables at the same desk that they loan people money, poor people money. They're poor if they have to borrow the money, and they borrow money and gamble it right away the same day. And Cameron Sexton changed the laws to allow that usury rate of interest, a 27% rate of interest, because he gets campaign donations from that company. Cameron Sexton, they fund Cameron Sexton political operation, Advanced Financial. The people who write the laws that govern predatory lending are funded by the people doing the predatory lending. That's not a coincidence. That's the system working as designed. The professors call it regulatory capture. I call it home cooking. The standard. The poor who steals your wallet goes to prison. The company that systematically drains poor families of their financial future writes a campaign check and gets a seat at the table where the rules are written. Same harm, different label, because the label is written by the people with the money getting funded that write the laws. The most dangerous people in Tennessee wear suits, uniforms, and get campaign checks from corporations. That's the most dangerous people in Tennessee. And the campaign and the corporations, some of them that write these checks for these politicians. So there are 2.8 million registered voters did not vote in 2022. That's the ball game. And about 3.5 million, because about 1 million more that didn't register. And there's also a significant amount of people that we can convince that this stuff is true, that they're going to get you too. So we have, quite frankly, probably close to 4.5 million people that are very reachable to this message. And we don't need 4.5 million people. We need about 1 million of the 4.5. So if we wake up maybe 20% of the 4.5 million people, we don't even have to wake up 4.5 million people, a small percentage of those people, wake them up to the truth of this, what they're doing to you in government power. We overwhelmingly win the election, and we need to win by 1 vote. We need to win so big that they can't rig it. But we've got 4 million people. They've got about 1 million. And the numbers are in our favor. Tennessee ranked dead last in the nation in voter turnout in 2022. Bill Lee won the governorship by a little over 1 million votes. There's about 4.5 million that we can get a small part of that. That's the field that we can harvest. The machine counts on people, voters, staying home like they did before. And they don't. And an awakened, informed, motivated electorate is one thing it cannot defeat. The truth matters. Every door knocked, every broadcast, every federal filing, every cue card, all aimed at the same target, people in government power, are the ungathered harvest, you people that I'm trying to reach. The people the machine wrote off. The people God has not written off. The people who have every reason to be angry and have been given no reason to show up until now. What they count on, keep the people poor, scared, distracted, and hopeless. They will not vote, they will not organize, they will not threaten the machine. That's what they hope. What the truth shows, voter apathy is manufactured just like their crime. And it's manufactured powerlessness. That's the antidote, is truth delivered directly with names, receipts, and reasons to show up. That's the broadcast. I gave you names, dates, and receipts and the way they're doing this. Poverty is not an excuse for staying home. It's the reason you cannot afford to. November 3rd, 2026. I'm Charles Van Morgan, 18 years as a commissioned law enforcement officer, including the Tennessee Highway Patrol, a law degree they won't let me use, gotten during difficult times when they said no, but I went anyway and graduated and have a legal knowledge to fight them with, the legitimate way. They're not fighting legitimate. A law degree that they won't let me use, a federal civil rights suit that survived so far. A motion to dismiss is moving forward. The case is moving forward. And 40,000 doors knocked on, 3 million YouTube views and climbing, a calling from God I didn't ask for, and I can't put it down. I am not a politician, I'm a truth teller. I'm a witness. I have seen the machine from the inside, and I've been run over by it. And I got back up, and I'm running for governor in the state of Tennessee. November 3rd, 2026. The pigs have had Tennessee long enough. The machine has run long enough. The cover-up has lasted long enough. The charge, exposed the machine. I've named the names, showed the receipts, given the ungathered harvest you the reason to show up November 3rd. The book described the system 40 years ago. Tennessee is living it today. 11 new editions. And I'm running to break the system. They started this fight, and I know how to end it. And I was not in the privileged group of people. And I just want to show you, these are the victims confirmed by a court in Tennessee of the man that's going to be executed at 10 o'clock. I don't know what time it is now, but there's going to be an execution by your government in the state of Tennessee here in just a matter of minutes. And these are the victims of Mr. Crothers. It's not alleged, he was convicted by a court. This is the power of your state governments putting him to death. He says he didn't do it. I don't trust the courts. I'm not saying he did or didn't, but this is his victims. That's what's important. And may God bless and protect their families. And this is an example. Tennessee death row inmate Tony Van Crothers is scheduled to be executed today, Thursday, May 21st at 10 a.m. The execution will take place via lethal injection at the Riverman Maximum Security Institution in Nashville. He was convicted and sentenced to death in 1996 for the triple kidnapping and murder of Marcus Anderson, his mother Dolores Anderson, and Frederick Tucker. And these are the victims of his heinous crimes. Let's pray that justice will be done. If he didn't do it, pray that God intervenes If he did, pray that justice will be done. And I just wanted to show you, here is, if you can contribute to the show to help me make an impact in the governor's race, to show them we're watching, then please hit the icon and contribute via the link. And here it is bigger if you want to contribute. I certainly appreciate it. And I just want to show you my humble beginnings. I'm used to fighting bullies. I know what that's about. And I'm going to show you some pictures that represent. So like, share, and comment. I want to show you some pictures that represent how the system is rigged. So we got 100 likes. Thank y'all so very much. May God bless y'all. I appreciate it. So hit the link and help me get this message out against the government. And I'm going to show you what it's like to grow up, not be a member of the elite. I did a show the other day talking about how you don't have a chance, the system's rigged. And here's Mr. Randy Nichols, I showed him earlier, the man that didn't prosecute J.J. Jones, Knox County Sheriff Deputy. And there, you can see, he's the man that didn't prosecute J.J. Jones. Knox County Sheriff, there he is right there. He worked for the Sheriff's Department that did not charge J.J. Jones and the other people in the Sheriff's Department. Now, he got a job at the Sheriff's Department, hired by J.J. Jones, who's only prosecuted after he's out of the Sheriff's Department. So imagine that. Imagine how that works. Works out well for them, doesn't it? And so he is, Randy Nichols serves as special counsel for the Knox County Sheriff's Office. He previously worked as a Knox County District Attorney General for over 22 years, 1992 to 2014. While the crimes were taking place allegedly before transitioning to the Sheriff's Office in late 2024, while the crimes were in full force at that time, they started in 2010, ended in 2018, he still worked at the Sheriff's Department when the crimes were going on, before the crimes were going on, when he was a prosecutor, could have prosecuted the crimes. He worked as a prosecutor. He didn't know or ignored the crimes, evidence everywhere. And then he, while the crimes were going on, was hired by the Sheriff's Department, special counsel. So the criminal alleged hired him. Could have charged him, didn't charge him. Why didn't charge him? Maybe because he might get a job. Got a job at the Sheriff's Department, was at the Sheriff's Department while these crimes are going on. You know, pigs feeding at the same trough, and it's your trough. Right there he is. Now, he's the one that lied on me. Now, he lied under oath on me. Said some pretty heinous, false things about me. Think about how many people in Knox County went to jail because of a crooked prosecutor. Now, Sharman Tissue Allen is his successor. She worked in his office. At the time these crimes are going on, she's a prosecutor now. Now, she's recused herself. Why did it take them so long to bring charges 8 years later? I think I know why. Because they're pigs feeding at the same trough. Pigs squealing. So let me show you what happens to us as opposed to what happens to them. No matter how good you are, here's what happens to you. Now, here is a picture, and I blacked out the faces of these young men. Here is a picture of me when I was 8 or 9 years old. Look at that picture right there. Me on the football team. I played football. I sacked the quarterback so much they had to put 2 people on me in practice. And they still couldn't stop me in practice. I interfered with the game so much, sacking the quarterback, that they had to put 2 people on me, and I went right through the middle of them. I was that good at football. But you look at that picture, do you see something different? Now, I was the best player out there. That's just the truth. Just like in the highway patrol, numbers don't lie. I sacked the quarterback. What a defensive lineman's supposed to do. viciously broke through the line and put him on his hind end. I wasn't very good at tackling. The way I would tackle him is I'd pick him up and body slam him. That's the way I knew how to tackle. It still got him down. He didn't get out of my grip. And the quarterback wore a girly's shirt where it was cut off. And I remember I got my fingernails in his skin accidentally. And I remember he's complaining that I cut into his he thought sexy stomach that he showed everybody, you know, a girly man. And he went on to play for Carson Newman. But if you see something strange about that picture, the other ones, they had dads and moms that came to the game. My dad was dead. I was right here on the end. I was number 89. You see something strange about that picture? It's very telling about that picture. See that? There I am right there. And here's all the other little boys. I'd marked out their number. But you see something strange about the picture? That's one with his hand on his helmet. And that's me. Even the same line. Look at their helmets. Let me show you something. That's at 8 years old. Busted through the line. My daddy was dead. And look at these helmets of people on the front lines here. I just want to show you. This is the way they do us. This is all the people on the front lines. Look at that nice, white, sexy helmet, wasn't it? All these people got the best equipment. Look at that. Look at that. Now, you see something strange about my helmet? My equipment might not have been up to par. And I just want to show you. This is the way they do you. If you're not in, this is at 8 years old. They do kids this way at 8 years old because I didn't have a daddy. I wasn't in the establishment. Well, if you don't think I'm getting out and people don't like my message, you see that. Let's see who that was. Yeah, I mean, you know, all I'm doing is broadcasting, telling the truth. But yeah, it's all right. So, like I said, if I end up dead, I am not suicidal. I'm not homicidal either. I don't want to kill anybody. Peace, love, and I serve the Lord Jesus Christ. I will defend myself. I got a God-given right to do that. You try to murder me, I'll stop you from committing that crime very aggressively. It'll be a bad day for you. I assure you, I'm not a toy. I survived the highway patrol, making more arrests than anybody in the state. I'll survive your little puddly thug self if you try to hurt me. I assure you that. And if you try to hurt me, you're a thug, puddly person that I'll take care of legally. And I'm not accidental. I don't take unnecessary chances. So if I end up dead, it wasn't suicide, and I didn't do something stupid that I got myself killed that I didn't have to do. Somebody put me in that river floating on purpose with forethought and malice, and over 3 million people watching now because I'm putting out the truth against people that control law enforcement and control a lot of ignorant people in society against their own damn self-interest. They don't even know it because they get the nice white helmets. Now, this is a helmet, and this wasn't all the equipment. This is just what you can see. This is a helmet of one of the other kids, and this is my helmet. You see the difference? Even at 8 years old, they treat us differently. That's my helmet. That's their helmet. They treat us differently. They don't treat us the same way. At 8 years old, what did I do at 8 years old that I deserved to be treated like that? Here's a close-up picture. This one little boy on the front line. This one little boy on the front line. This is not me. This is number 16. There's number 16. Look at that nice white helmet. I covered up his face. Look at me. That's me, 86, Charles Van Morgan. Look at the helmet there. So my hand on that nasty, scrungy helmet. Look at this on that helmet. At 8 years old, they do that to you at 8 years old. They put you in the worst equipment, even though you're the best at the game. You don't think for 10 seconds they'll do that to you when you're 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 20, 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75. If you make it to 80, and you probably won't if you're in my class because we don't have the appropriate medical care, that's the way they do you. I didn't even have the same equipment that all the little boys had wasn't given to me. And that's just one example of 8 years old. A clear, not a distorted picture. Clearly, every player on the football team, except for the one without a dad, had the best equipment. And mine stood out like a sore thumb. And that is the way they do you. They think they're better. And I implore you, I ask you to subscribe to the channel, contribute to the channel. 4.5 million, if only a small percentage of you, and we need to get everyone activated, and that's what they're afraid of. Go to the polls and vote. Cast your vote. Even if we don't win, it shows them we're gaining momentum. We make a difference. It will make it harder for them to commit the atrocities that they are committing against you every day. It's not street crime, it's their crime. They're the most dangerous people on the planet. Thank you all so very much for listening. We've had overwhelming response today. Pray for my safety as I pray for you all. May God bless you all. And as I always try to say, because it is the truth, it speaks volumes. God loves you, and I do too. Thank you very much.